What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so some very, very concerning news. Of course, the NBA community is very, very concerned right now, and that is that longtime NBA coach Gregg Popovich had a medical event last night at a local restaurant in San Antonio. According to reports, he was stretchered out of a local steakhouse in San Antonio, and officials reportedly responded to a call from the establishment claiming that an elderly person had fainted, which turned out to be the 76-year-old coach. Popovich suffered a mild stroke on November the 2nd prior to a home game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. It is believed that this medical event may be related to the stroke that he suffered back then. After his initial health scare, Popovich stepped away from the team to prioritize his health, except for a meeting he held at the Spurs practice facility this past February, to announce that he was not returning to the team for the remainder of the season. His primary source of interaction with his team came digitally. Spurs general manager Brian Wright said a few days after Popovich's stroke, "This is a very difficult time for everyone. Popovich has been the leader of this organization for the last 3 decades. When we walk into the building each and every day, we feel and have felt his presence." It's been reported that Popovich was alert and talking by the time he entered the back of the ambulance, and that he was admitted to a hospital with, quote, non-life-threatening injury or illness. It took a few months after Popovich's stroke for him to be able to walk again. And while his condition seemed to be improving, Tuesday's incident pretty much may solidify that Popovich's coaching career may be over. That he may not be at a capacity where he could handle the rigors of a coaching career. And, I can't help but think, I don't want to speculate about, I know some people saying, well, why would he be eating steak? Why is it? We don't know whether he was eating steak. He could have been eating a salad, for all we know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know exactly what he's been eating. So salad and water, he still had a fainting incident. I can't help but think that the stress of the past few seasons contributed to this, in addition to getting older. I don't know his genetics, but 75, 76 years old. In the last few years in the post-Tim Duncan era, there's been a lot of losing. And I can't help but also think, and I'm not blaming anybody here, I'm not saying anybody's responsible for Popovich having a stroke. But I can't help but think the stress of dealing with some of these idiots, you know what I'm saying? Some of these idiots in the NBA, this new breed, that some of these players are literally uncoachable compared to the players that we grew up watching. And like I said, I can't help but think that possibly has played a small role in all of this. And I wish Gregg Popovich the best, but I think that his coaching career probably should be over, That's a sign right there, Now somebody, I don't know all of the intricate details of what happened. I don't know if it's especially hot where it is right now in San Antonio or whatever. But you don't want to have another stroke. That's the thing. You don't want to have another one and have these things happen time and time and time again. Gregg Popovich, of course, is the winningest coach in the history of the NBA, and won 5 NBA championships with the San Antonio Spurs, First one coming in 1999, and abbreviated season to strike season. I think it was the first strike season, or at least that's the first season affected by a strike in the history of the NBA. Then, of course, he won championships in 2003, 2005, 2007, and 2014, I believe. And, Popovich, man, I think is one of the minimum top 4 coaches in the history of the NBA. Top 4, along with, I would say, Red Auerbach, Phil Jackson, and Pat Riley. Those are, and when you include Popovich, man, I think those are the top 4 coaches in the history of the game. And one other thing I want to say too, before I end this video, because this has to be called out too. Gregg Popovich has voiced in the past his concerns and his feelings about Donald Trump, right? So, of course, people who have absolutely no emotional maturity are cheerleading and cheering this latest health drawback with Popovich. And I'm not lying, I'm not exaggerating. It's out there, you can see for yourself. These scumbags are literally cheering for this man to lose his life. Human society has devolved to the point where we're losing ourselves. We're losing our humanity. And anything, and not only that, people are becoming narcissistic, extremely narcissistic. And while politics has always been a very touchy subject and a subject that can elicit a lot of strong feelings, people at the very least, for the most part, in the past, when it comes to age, I know a lot of people are younger, so sometimes people in their 20s, teenagers, they can get past because they're still emotionally children. But when you got people in their late 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s, name calling and praying for the worst for people who happen to disagree with them about a politician who none of them knows, that's how you know we're falling apart as a society. We're just falling apart, man. And I'm going to say this too. I'm tired of all these Trump supporters, right? In general, and I'm calling them out on this. I'm tired of these guys always pulling out their bullshit hypocrisy. They'll sit there and say, when a Gregg Popovich goes in on Donald Trump, whether you agree with him or not, and they'll tell him, keep politics out of sports, right? But then somebody like, and I know I'm aging myself here, but because he doesn't even play baseball anymore, but I distinctly remember Curt Schilling, while he was still playing, would go on Fox News and go on a tangent about Democrats. And these guys are eating that shit up. Eating it up. Man, that's a real American right there. Yeah, this guy, yeah, he gets it. I love Curt Schilling. That's a real patriot right there. But wait a minute, I thought you said athletes supposed to keep politics out of sports. Oh, it's only when you disagree with them because you're intolerant and you don't have the emotional maturity to handle people who disagree with you on politics. That's what it is. You guys don't have any emotional maturity. Now, people on the left have that same issue too, but it's especially prevalent with Trump supporters. And my comment section, possibly, if they listen this far, is going to bear that out. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Oh, by the way, there's going to be some people who are Trump supporters who are just going to say something nasty about Popovich because they don't like his politics. As if that trumps your humanity for a man who has fallen physically. And it also shows you how we don't interact with each other no more. We're losing ourselves as people. We don't interact with one another. We're all in our little bubbles, in our little cocoons, in our little safety zones, in our little, you know, uh, you know, in our little worlds, only communicating with those who we agree with, only indulging in groupthink and group talk, always uh, endlessly, yelling and cursing those who we don't agree with in an echo chamber, often of lies, when we don't actually have meaningful dialogue. So that the conflict resolution skills that me and others grew up having, these people don't have. They don't know how to disagree agreeably. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.